Jurassic Park. The film takes place 4 years after the first movie, on an island far, far away, called Isla Sorna, 87 miles southwest of Isla Nublar, the first island from the first movie. A rich British family docks their yacht nearby. I don't know if they already knew about this island or what was going on here, but, you know, they were just having fun, and they're like, you know what? Let's all sit here and sip our Mai Tais. I don't know alcohols, whatever.
For God's sake, leave her alone, Deirdre.
Sweetheart, we'll play with your ball.
First time I saw that, I was like, who are you talking to? But then I remember I have a mother like that, so I completely get where she's coming from. After all, mothers do tend to be annoying, but this little shit thinks she can take care of herself.
Let her enjoy herself for once.
This is also a brand new island, and you don't know what the fauna are on this island or if there's any snakes around. So while you shouldn't smother the child, it might not be a bad idea to let someone go with her or in front of her to make sure there's no poisonous things around there that can come out and kill her. Here's to hoping that she's smart enough to know how to avoid danger.
What are you? Is it a bird or something?
Does that look like a fucking bird to you? Okay, I changed my mind. She's obviously not smart enough. She's like, Mommy, Daddy, I found something! Then they're all like, it's free real estate. Her parents hear her screaming. Her mom runs like she's a plunger up her ass, and she's calling everybody to come in front of her. And as the mother, you would think with adrenaline, that being your child, you would be the first one in front of all those men who are clearly not running as fast as they could run in sand. Then the most cringy part of the movie and the funniest part happens because of the transition. They clearly only paid this person $5 to do this role. Just, you know, be super annoying and just do your womanly thing.
Hurry up!
The first time I saw this, I'm like, is she screaming at him? Then I realized it made no sense. Ian Malcolm is boarding a train. Some annoying douchebag sits beside him and is like, I remember you. I did believe you, you know. Roar! Dinosaurs and whatnot shit. Then these women who look like they're auditioning for a position playing the Muppets are just staring at him for no reason. Or maybe, you know, could you be a little more subtle? Ian Malcolm makes it to the mansion. Then we see the two kids from the first movie who've grown a little bigger, and they look way less annoying. They hug Dr. Malcolm. He asks how everything is, and they're like, it's not so great. There's a whole lot of activity in this estate. This is where we also meet John Hammond's nephew, Peter Ludlow. Ian Malcolm does not like him. Ian Malcolm was disgraced from society because he was telling all these stories about what happened in Jurassic Park, and Ludlow's like, look, dude, that's your fault. You filed a non-disclosure agreement, so, I mean, it's not like you didn't know that whatever you saw on that island you were not supposed to talk about, and then you went and proceed to talk about it. Dr. Malcolm, of course, doesn't like this, and he's like, really, bro, but that's not what happened. It was the truth. And I understand from Ludlow's perspective, you did sign a non-disclosure agreement. I mean, from that time, you would know. I mean, whether death happens on it or not, it is true. It kind of sucks. So even Lex and Tim didn't say anything, and Ludlow says as much. Not everyone's out to get Dr. Malcolm. There's a reason why. But it doesn't matter because he now has control of his uncle's estate. John Hammond, looking like a pearl in human form, is ailing as he is old. He loves InGen, but because of the recent event of the British couple and their daughter, and her getting salamied by those compies, or whatever it was they were doing to her, maybe shoving their necks down her throat, it looks really bad, and people have been gunning for his position. So that is what they use that recent incident to take the project and ownership of InGen from Dr. Hammond. Hammond, now that he needs something from Ian, is actually very happy to see him. He's like, listen, the dinosaurs are thriving.
But I thought they were only supposed to last 7 days without lysine.
Yeah, but they found somehow lysine on the island, and now they're thriving in their natural habitat, and I'm trying to protect it from human intervention. He already sent some people down, 4 people. Well, he was hoping that Ian would be the 4th. He also tells Ian that this island that the little girl was attacked on is actually Site B, Isla Sorna. This is where the dinosaurs were made, while Isla Nublar was a showcase where that little theme park was supposed to happen. But the dinosaurs were all bred and experimented on here, and then shipped to Isla Nublar, which is why in the first movie, in the very beginning, we see them bringing in a crate with the Velociraptor in it. So he's like, I'm hoping you'll be the 4th, and Ian is like, no, bro. Ian also does one more and says he's gonna call the other people and tell them not. And who's the botanist, whatever her name is, and he asks for the paleontologist's name. And he's like, well, she came to me, and she's down there first already, because she couldn't be contained, you know. You're dating a redhead, it's not my fault. Of course, Ian is very mad about this, and he's like, you sent my girlfriend to this island alone with dinosaurs on it? So while Ian is airing his grievances to John Hammond about Sarah going on the island by herself, he's like, it's a rescue mission. Ian walks off, and John Hammond is like, well, I ended up getting the 4 people I wanted. He's I love him, man. He's so adorable. Even if he has malintent, he looks so cute doing it. He looks like a freaking, like a white rabbit if it was in human form. That's what it would look like. It's very hard to be mad at him. So he meets the other people. Eddie Carr, who's responsible for field equipment. Nick Van Owen. Man, this guy looked, yeah. And of course, we're introduced to Ian Malcolm's daughter, Kelly. She did have a slightly different role in the book, and it was actually 2 kids that were in that setting in the book. But here, it's just Kelly. He's like, look, you're gonna have fun staying at this person's house named Karen. She gets upset with him since her mom dumped her there. I didn't even realize he had 2 kids. Apparently in the first movie, he claimed he did, and he was married 3 times, which I get. He's like, you know what, just don't listen to me. And she's like, just ground me a little bit. She's clearly upset and wants her dad's attention. Also, she was in gymnastics, which was a big love of hers, but she got cut from the team, and he didn't even know about it, so she's kind of upset. Kelly walks around the area, and she walks into a room, and she sees 5 deaths, Las Cinco Muertes, Isla Sorna, being the biggest island and where the film takes place. Well, they're off, carrying all their equipment to the island. This guy, who was the one responsible for the boat, is like, excuse me, I've heard a lot about this island and it's not good. So, I'm not going all the way over there. You guys gotta swim it or do something. The guy tells them about all these deaths surrounding the island. Everyone who goes near to these islands doesn't come back. There was even a fisherman that he knew who went too close to the island and then nobody ever heard from him again. The dude is like, you know what, deuces, if you need, I've got a satellite phone, you need me, call me, but me and my son are not gonna be here until you call us. Sponsored by Benz, all of these freaking movies. Ian Malcolm, remember, he's on a rescue mission for his girlfriend. He sees her pack. Her phone is not on her, it's in the pack. And he starts freaking out and calling her name.
Sarah! Sarah Harding! How many Sarahs do you think are on this island? Sarah!
While they're making all this noise, apparently something answers their call. Whatever could it be? And this is the first time and second time for Ian that all these people come into contact with these beautiful creatures on this island. Well, this being the first time that Ian Malcolm has seen these creatures in the wild, completely wild animals. And also the first time in the franchise around this moment that we've seen the Stegosaurus. I'm telling you, the first time I saw this, I had the reaction that Eddie Carr had. Man, I was so excited. I was so excited the first time I saw this. My eyes were lit up. I was in love. And for some reason, maybe it's just me, but I feel like this film does stand the test of time. Of course, Ian Malcolm is not fazed by this because he's seen dinosaurs before. I don't think he's seen the Stegosaurus before, but he's seen dinosaurs and he's like, you know what? I'm so freaking jaded with all of this. I have PTSD. I know exactly what's going on, and I have more level head than you guys do.
Oh, yeah. That's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Yeah, so Ian Malcolm was kind of right. He always is in these movies. Why don't people listen to him more? You'd think they would, you know? Anyways, they find Sarah. She sees Ian and she knows she's kind of in trouble and she's like, I didn't think that Hammond was gonna get you to come here. You slick little dog, you. She's freaking out and talking about, which I probably would be doing too, all the dinosaurs and how she can actually study them in their natural habitat. And he is like, no, this is business right here.
Out of the nest.
You haven't been attacked?
I love how he's just like a parent. He's like, okay, I'm not listening to a word you're saying. I just want to know one thing. Did they chomp your booty? He asked her why she didn't say anything to him, and she's like, well, I knew that you wouldn't let me come, so. She goes up to the Stegosaurus herd, touches their baby cries because the camera makes a weird noise, and all hell breaks loose. Eddie didn't want to shoot the dinosaurs because he said they were just protecting their baby. It's Sarah's fault if she dies. We shouldn't have to shoot the Stegosaurus for that. I agree. Knowing Sarah, she would not want him to shoot them either. Everyone gets freaked out as Ian and Sarah are going back and forth because at the camp, somebody made a fire and it wasn't any of them, so who could it have been?
I just wanted to make dinner. Want it ready when you guys got back.
Nick is like, does anybody see any family resemblance here? I was always wondering why he said that. I mean, I guess it's because Kelly is dark skinned, but why did he jump straight to thinking that she was someone's kid? You know, maybe she's an assistant or something. Or maybe Nick was making an off joke that Ian got suckered and his wife wasn't faithful. I don't know. I'm looking back at this movie and I don't really get that part to this day. I think they just put that in as a joke. Kelly tries to make an excuse and say, well, you told me not to listen to you, so you know what I mean. Sarah butts in and says, well, you know, curiosity, where do you think she gets that? Understandably, Ian is furious with his daughter. She knows damn well what he meant. And now he has to worry about getting her back to the mainland. So he takes up the satellite phone, and that doesn't work, and he hates electronics because they never work. So he asks Eddie if he can go in the trailer, and hopefully the phone in there will work. Eddie does a smug,
Well, maybe if you try turning it on, you know.
to be fair, I'd be kind of sucky too if we have a satellite phone and we're in danger and you need to somehow find a magical spot that just happens to have a signal for it to work. I'd be a little concerned as well.
Dad, are you mad?
No, I'm not mad. I'm furious.
Oh shit. Yo, when he slammed the door like that, I was like, oh, I got PTSD. I thought she was gonna get whooping. My dad was never the type to spank me. It was always my mom. But on those special occasions, if my dad was really mad, being such a nice person and being so freaking chill, I was scared because I'm like, my dad never gets mad. So I fucked up. He tells her to clean the area because it looks like her room. Sarah comes in and she's like, I was gonna call you in a few days, you know, you don't have to be so, you know, you. And then she's like, you know, it's great that you rode in on a white horse to rescue me, but you need to show up in a cab once in a while. You left me at dinner with your parents and never showed up, which honestly, I would have been freaking upset. I don't like social events, and you invite me to dinner with your parents and you don't even show up. What the hell is that? While they're arguing, Kelly's like, do you guys hear that? She is so cute now, by the way. The others find out that they're not the only ones here. I mean, Hammond was all about being discreet and not letting the animals know of their presence. So why would he send a second team? When they're looking up at it, they realize that the choppers and all those other vehicles in the air say engine on them. Engine belongs to Hammond.
I don't get that. Why would Hammond send two teams?
Time leading tackler in the history of the James.
You know, my voice cracks.
Sweet home.
Oh god.
Two teams.
I love Eddie. He's like the best character. Sorry. Well, if you remember, Peter Ludlow, Hammond's nephew, took engine from him, or the board decided it was better that he had it because, you know, the dinosaurs keep eating people that come too close to the island. And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do the park the same way my uncle wanted to do it, but I'm gonna take it to the mainland because, you know, I'm freaking smart. But there's another reason Ludlow wants to do this. Ludlow wants to save Engine from bankruptcy. We always think that he's being stupid, and he's like, you know, I just want to do this and mess everything up. But that's not totally the reason. He's looking at it from a business standpoint. His uncle is looking at it from a dreamy standpoint. But Ludlow wants to make money. He wants to save Engine. He wants to save his his uncle's company. So he wants to exploit the animals to save them from bankruptcy. And in so doing, they're going to take these animals back to the mainland to an unfinished Jurassic Park attraction in San Diego. That was originally what Hammond was going to do, or the site he was going to use before he decided, you know what, maybe I'll do it on Isla Nublar. It's much easier to hide deaths there. If you have not watched this movie, you seriously should. The reason why this movie is my favorite besides the first movie is because of all the dinosaurs you see in their natural habitat. We see how people try to catch them. There's some comedic elements. While everyone's watching everything that... Wait a minute. The fuck is going on here? Okay. Don't worry, it's completely platonic or whatever. That's her father. I know, right? But not like blood. The dinosaurs are unceremoniously caught and abused, and everyone looks on very upset. Roland and a few of his guys start tracking the T-Rex because he is a game hunter, a big game hunter, and his only stipulation for working with Ludlow to catch the dinosaurs is if he himself could catch a bull rex. Even though he's working on the other side, who we consider the villains, I actually like this character. And then comes this guy, who I think is named Stark. And the dinosaur dude is telling him, look, I know you're like weirded out because the compy that just jumped in front of you is not afraid. But you gotta understand that they have no reason to fear man. No one's really ever been to the island. And the last person who was at the island, they tried to eat their children.
There haven't been any visitors to this island. There's no reason for it to fear man.
No, sir.
Compy will remember that. Roland and Ajay find a baby T-Rex eating This is the T-Rex nest, and they figure if they want to catch a T-Rex, they gotta use the baby to get them. They stake out in the middle of the night after breaking the poor baby T-Rex's leg. They do this so it will cry and make a loud noise so the parents will come, but they haven't come. Meanwhile, Sarah, Ian, and the group make a decision. While Peter Ludlow is giving a presentation of what he plans to do with this park, Sarah and Nick free the dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs tear everyone's ass up. Nick also rescues the baby T-Rex. Roland is mad at Stark, and he's like, that's the last time I leave you in charge, buddy. You were asleep when all this was happening. What were you doing? Jacking off? Ian tries to phone back to the mainland, or the guy who was supposed to be picking him up. Then in comes Sarah with this freaking baby T-Rex.
What are you doing?
Kelly sees them working on the baby trying to set his leg, and she's like, you know what, deuces, I don't want to be out here. She says she wants to go somewhere high, stoned or in the trees. So she goes to Eddie's high-rise, the safest place that you could be. He's like, there, see, you're okay. And the scariest thing happens. The T-Rexes have found out that their baby is not in the nest, and there's blood. Of course, they're gonna freak out and be very upset. Ian is like, I gotta go save my girlfriend. I need to get down from the high-rise, while Kelly is begging him not to go. I know when Ian Malcolm heard the sound of that T-Rex roar, all of those memories came flooding back. Remember, he was almost eaten by the thing several times. Ian Malcolm runs pell-mell through the rain to get back to the trailer. He screams at Nick and Sarah, saying that you don't answer your phone? There was a very good reason why I wanted you to.
Help me get this thing out of here.
No, we just said
Mommy's very angry.
That is not what you want to hear. And it sucks because they're actually trying to help the baby T-Rex. But Mommy Dearest and Daddy Dearest don't know that. T-Rexes are on either side of the trailer, looking in at their child. They don't attack anymore because they know the baby's in there. That's their one kid, and they're like, listen, we love you, baby. We're gonna get you. It's interesting to see how good parents they are. Then they're like, oh, we should put the baby outside. It's probably a good idea if we just give back the baby. Nick takes the muzzle off the baby, who starts wailing. The parents follow as they get to the entrance of the trailer. This was honestly a scary scene because you could hear the difference, the quiet in the trailer from when they open up the door and come face to face with the mom or the dad. I think that's the dad. Scary! Around this part, I was like, first time I saw this, I was freaking out. And I'm like, I hope they'll know that we helped them. I hope they'll know that we didn't hurt their baby. But from their perspective, their baby got lost. There was blood. And then they find the baby in the trailer with these things. And I'm pretty sure they've seen humans before. Maybe they were raised from birth. I think these creatures grow very fast in the Jurassic Park world. But they probably don't like humans very much. Especially now, since their baby went missing and this is where they found him and he's hurt. They don't understand the concept of these little things trying to help their baby. Everything else has probably killed their offspring or tried to kill their offspring, are things that tried to steal it away. T-Rex is not down with that sickness. Sarah. Oh my god, her reaction is so freaking real. Because I would have been like the same thing. She's like, it's okay. Dude, that was a perfect reaction. She looks terrified. Eddie said the T-Rexes are leaving. Ian asked to put the phone to his daughter, and she says, yeah, I'm fine, which she's not really a great actress in this. How is her hair staying straight when she's doused with rain? Everything seems fine, and then Ian Malcolm's like, oh no. I don't know how he knew this at this point. Maybe he saw something. Maybe he saw the T-Rexes charging towards him, but nobody heard anything, really. Mama and Papa T-Rex are very angry and decide, you know, this is part of our territory. You tried to hurt our child and touched him in places that we didn't want you touching him. So they try to push the trailer over the cliff. And this is where that scene comes up that I've seen so many movies rip off to the point where it gets annoying. After I have seen the Lost World Jurassic Park, I swear to you, movies after this have been copying the scene, and it is annoying. It's a nauseating amount of times I have seen it, to the point where they try to negate the effect of the first one. This scene with her being on thin glass. So many movies have done this afterwards. And it's like, stop doing that. Come up with your own shit. Oh my God. And it's not even like they make a play on it. They do it like shot for shot, the angles, everything, it being a thin thing that she's on. And it's just like, oh, someone has to grab you right before you go through. But here, I believe the Lost World Jurassic Park did it first. And the suspense, man, they did it so well. Suspense was a strong point in this movie. And then something is about to fall to crash through the glass and all that jazz, or the person's about to break through, so the person has to like grab them. Ian makes his way down while Sarah is trying her hardest not to fall through. Ian is like, come here, babe, I got you. Then he sees her lucky pack. Then the thing falls, he grabs it, and he grabs her right in time before she falls through and bashes her breasts on the rocks. Eddie shows up with his freaking Mercedes. I remember when I was watching this with my friend and he's like, that's why I like Benz. Like, you do realize that even if that thing could do that, the transmission would be shot. Eddie risks his life, even though the T-Rexes are no longer there because they think they've killed the humans, to try and pull the trailer because it's slipping. Now the Benz is going. And with all the SUV's might, it pulls the trailer back up. Yeah, sure. Now here is another scary scene in this movie. There's a lot of those, especially when they're on the island. Eddie is doing this. He's saving his friends. And then something bad happens. Even though Eddie sees the teeth of these dinosaurs, he's still pressing the gas so that his friends don't go over the cliff. While he is trying to get the gun that is wrapped up in the net, the T-Rexes start plowing and tearing the vehicle apart. And honestly, like, this is so hard to watch. Usually I don't really care about human deaths, but Eddie Card is such a sweet character that you don't want anything bad to happen to him. And when he starts screaming in fear, while he's screaming in fear, be aware, though, that he is still putting his foot on the gas, still trying to save his friends while he is fighting for his life, knowing that he's probably going to die. He can't get the gun out, and he could have ducked at this point and tried to put himself in the foothole of the car, but he knew his friends were depending on him to save him. Trying to kick the T-Rex away, that stupid gun being caught in the net is like a Final Destination moment, and unfortunately, they grab Eddie. He dies in one of the worst ways possible. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should definitely go and watch it, or at least watch the clip. It made me so sad. Like, if they ask you, like, what are some of the saddest deaths in movies, Eddie Carr's death would be one of the saddest deaths in movies. Since I have seen this movie, this has stayed with me all these years. He already tied his friends down, so even though the trailer slips, they're still on the rope. When they get to the top, they see Roland's hand outstretched to them, the big game hunter of the other InGen team. Ludlow's like, yeah, thanks for sabotaging our stuff, because we already knew they were not alone on this island. Sarah says, look, these T-Rexes now think this is part of their territory because we moved the baby here, so they're gonna destroy everything in their path here. And the Paleo guy's like, yeah, that's why they destroyed the trailers. So yeah, but she's right, we gotta move, what she said. They try to figure out a way to camp, and fortunately and unfortunately, everyone has to work together now because they've all lost their communication equipment. The only way they can get help or call for help is to walk to a distant, derelict InGen base to call for help. Roland is actually not a horrible guy. He asks if Sarah is hurt, and she says, no, it's the blood from the baby T-Rex. Pretty sure that will be important later. This guy named Carter has his earphones in, and Stark, the guy who electrocuted the combi before in his face, is like, I'm gonna go take a piss. I honestly don't know why people have to go so far to do it, especially men. Like, all you have to do, you have a nozzle attached to your body. There are men there, mostly men there. Nobody wants to see you piss, maybe even Sarah. If she does, what's the problem? Go behind a tree so nobody can see you and piss. And we know that's what he had to do because that's what he was getting ready to do to open his pants, but yet he had to walk a mile away to do it. Doesn't make any sense. He doesn't think these guys are dangerous. He's like, you little bitch. You think it's funny? You think it's funny? Yeah. Give me your face.
Not polite to sneak up on people.
That is the same compy. That is the same compy, and I even realized that when I saw this the first time because the compy recognized the cattle prod. He was like, shit, that's the thing he used to stab me before. He had no idea what it was when he first saw it, and that's why he got electrocuted. Or electrically stabbed, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that the dinosaur now can recognize it and recognize this guy means that he's on a shit list. You know, crows are the same way. There are certain birds that if you're mean to them, they will seek vengeance on your ass forever and get all their friends in to help. I think that's probably the inspiration they took for this thing. Compies are basically like crows. Crows are the jackals of the bird world, and so are Compsognathus. Carter can't hear him because Carter has his earbuds in. You have your earbuds in both ears in a place where things can hunt and kill you. I don't see how that's sensible. Like, I'm all for listening to your music and shit, but come on, dude. So even Stark is trying to call out to him, and Carter can't hear him because Carter thought it was gonna be a very good idea to just close off from your environment, knowing that this island brings death. I can't even blame Carter completely, even though, yeah, I can blame him completely, but the other guy's just as much at fault. Why the frick did you go so freaking far to take a piss? He falls down and goes deeper into the forest. Compies are like, got you, bitch. He rips them off, tries to chase them away. They all bite him, but keep following him. And they do it like they're waiting for something, and he starts freaking out. And I'm like, why is he freaking out and acting so weird? I actually have a video on this because they don't talk about it in the movie, but they do talk about it in the book, in the Michael Crichton Jurassic Park books. The compies have venom. They're basically like Komodo dragons. They all bite you, and the more bites you get is the more potent the venom. They knew they couldn't actually kill him, but they all took a bite and delivered their hallucinatory venom, which is probably a paralytic as well, into his bloodstream, which is why he was freaking out and having a hard time staying on his feet. Notice how weak he is right here when he's trying to get them off. He doesn't stand up, he doesn't do anything, and now they're all biting him again, unleashing more venom. That's also why the poor man is freaking out and is more scared of them. He's probably starting to lose his vision as well. The books explicitly state what happens to you when the compies bite you. You can check out the video that I have attached to this one. Now in the novel, and I can personally confirm because I've read it that this is the case, the compy's saliva has a foam-like structure and has high concentration of serotonin, which can trigger an allergic reaction. Their venom has a mild narcotic effect, making the victim feel sleepy and drowsy and altogether content. When the University of Laboratory of San Jose received a saliva sample from the Clinic Santa Maria, they found that the saliva contained high levels of serotonin. And their venom or saliva is basically a primitive form of cobra venom. You see, in the novel, John Hammond wasn't as nice as he is in the movies. Hammond in the novel was eaten by compies after they attacked him with his broken ankle, and he passed out from their narcotic.
When did you last see him?
10-15 minutes.
You let him die, you asshole. He brings the guy with him to go find him, and they find him later, but they only find pieces of him that the compies didn't like. While they set up camp, this is where Roland tells Ian and his friend Ajay that there's an abandoned place, and this is where they're gonna go. See, that would have woken me up. I am such a light sleeper. If you're in the room, or if I hear some weird noise in my sleep, I will wake up unless I'm inebriated or drugged. When I turn in my sleep, I wake up. If the puppy turns in her sleep, I wake up. If a dog is licking itself in the middle of the night, I wake up. And I don't like that. Sarah wakes up, thank goodness, and she realizes that the blood of the baby T-Rex is what's drawing the parents. Why didn't she think of that before? She puts all the food away, and you can tell this is from experience, working out with animals like bears and stuff, and she turns off the light right as the T-Rex gets to her camp. Or her tent. This is scary because the T-Rex makes her way inside. This is one of the reasons I love this movie so much. And I had the toy of this. I can't tell if it's the male or the female, but the green hues around this dinosaur is exactly how my toy looked. And the toy had the thing where you could like press the back and it roars. And you can stuff things inside its mouth. Kelly is about to scream, and Sarah puts her hand over the girl's mouth. This is the only time this little girl does, like, the better acting in this movie. I mean, she's a child actor, so you can't really blame her completely. The two child actors in the first movie weren't the best either. Ian doesn't want to alert anyone, but someone gets up and starts screaming. T-Rex does not like that. Everyone starts running. I think this is the mother T-Rex that's roaring at everyone, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is the father T-Rex doing? What is he doing back there? He's just chilling out. A chase ensues where they try to make it to the waterfall. Roland tries to take a shot, and he sees that his shotgun is empty or there's blanks because Nick sabotaged him, as he called the guy a professional saboteur. Poor Carter doesn't live to see another day. One of the things I loved about the Lost World Jurassic Park is how brutal it was. Man, that guy getting stepped on by the T-Rex and having his body stuck to the bottom of the T-Rex's foot for a while? Dude, that's something that you only see in the first two movies. Roland gets the buck, finally. The others take shelter in the waterfall. She looks funny, so wrong. The T-Rex can't reach them, so it tries using its tongue to lick Sarah. Ew. This guy has a harmless snake going into her shirt, and he has such a phobia of snakes that he forgets that the T-Rex is right in front of them, waiting for them to go into its jaws. And he goes right into it, gets caught, and gets killed. Ian Malcolm goes into the waterfall and tells him that it's safe, and the T-Rex is gone. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is trying to go through the long grass. Ajay, Roland's friend, is telling them not to go into the long grass.
Not into the long grass!
And this is the first time we see the velociraptors. I always save them for last because you know the velociraptors are more cunning than all the other animals and they're the most aggressive and deadly. And now they've been raised to be completely wild. Creepily, you see the raptors moving in on the group of humans. People start dying. And that's when everyone starts freaking out. I don't understand why that guy was screaming and turned around and it was kind of a weird shot. Like before, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then you look back. Maybe he can hear the raptor coming upon him, but why would you turn back around instead of keep running? All you have to do is run faster than the people who are beside you, but you turn around and scream to tell the raptor where you are. For what reason? I don't understand. Like, what are you doing? Why? And everyone could just like sit there, like this was a shot just to get his big old Disney eyes screaming in absolute fear. And then he's backing up like a nincompoop as the raptor becomes airborne. Just like none of this made sense. You know, like, I mean, it was a cool shot. Okay, now that I'm looking at it right here, it's clearly green screen. Like, you can't see. Oh my God, I just realized that. Like, when you're watching the movie, it doesn't look like anything's wrong with it. But then when you watch it over and you go frame by frame, you realize like, oh my God, this guy's in front of a screen. And I think he reacted too early to the raptor jumping. Because I think he should have turned around and then when he saw the raptor jumping, he should have screamed. But here, you can clearly see that this is a green screen and the guy is not there. Look at the raptor. He looks like he's in front of a screen and the raptor is not actually touching him. See that? See where the light doesn't really make sense? He is reacting to what he's seeing on the screen, and even at the edges of his hat, you can see the outline of the green screen. Oh no, that ruined it for me. Oh, you can still see it. Oh no, oh no. Ian, Kelly, Malcolm, and Sarah try to race to the base. While they're at this abandoned facility, they look for a phone, and then they have to fight off raptors. Again, if you freeze the frames, you can see that the raptor isn't really there. I have to say the best part of this movie were the raptors for me. I love the new design, that tiger stripe thing they got going on. I was able to get a toy of one of these raptors, the one that's head bobs forth and it opens its mouth, and then the fighting one that they can fight each other. I have so many collectibles from this movie, but just also the movements of watching them be raptors and watching them be dangerous. Kelly and Sarah are holed up in this place while Ian is in a car that's being broken into by the raptor trying to get at him. The raptors start digging their way in the shed. Kelly and Sarah start digging their way out the other side. The raptors are so smart that they waited for them to do this. When Sarah sticks her head out, which honestly to me is not very smart, she says, "Just go. Just go, Kelly." Kelly almost gets her arm taken off. The raptor comes in and tries to get at Ian, which just made it inside the shed. The raptor leaps up really high and comes face to face with Ian. And then comes the cringiest part of the movie. She's like, you know what? My gymnastics, I'm gonna use it and use the power of gymnastics to kill this bitch. Whee! By the way, I don't think that was Kelly. That bitch is not Kelly. That is not Kelly. The earrings that Kelly is wearing are very short, small, studded earrings. We know what Kelly's face looks like. She's cute and kitten-faced. This is a much older person with completely different earrings and a different face. I mean, clearly it's a stunt double, but good grief, man. It's just so sad. Like, I hate seeing those things. No one's expecting anyone to pause the movie so we can look, that's not Kelly. He's a completely different person. Like, they had to get someone who knew gymnastics. I'm like, did they pay someone just so they could have gymnastics in this movie? They could have cut this movie and we'd have been fine. It was so cringy. And she's definitely more thick than Kelly as well. Kelly does not have all of that. Anyway, she kicks the raptor and it dies. It falls on something sticking out of the ground and gets impaled by it. They could have done without that scene. I didn't really think anything of it. Like, when I was first watching, I was like, okay, that's weird. But now that I'm watching it over, the more I watch it, the more awkward it seems. And he's like, they cut you from the team? Look how cute she is. All the raptors are descending on the location, so they all try to get out of there. Sarah does some weird stunts. I think somebody else is doing her stunts for her too, not like it matters, but There's a raptor fight, and they make it to a helicopter. Roland gets his bull, but it's kind of bittersweet because his friend Aj died, so it doesn't mean anything. I know that people hate when you do this, but I'm wondering if Aj was like his friend or his partner. Regardless if it was his partner, romantic partner, or just best friend, it must be very painful that he lost him. So now he's got the T-Rex, but it's like bittersweet. Like now it takes the sweetness out of it completely because he's like, well, my friend's gone, so.
We lost everything we came after on this trip, but this animal and its infant are going to single-handedly bail us out.
Congratulations.
You've got your trophy!
And so Ludlow was saying, hey, you got a reason to celebrate, bro. We did this. You saved Engine. We can still make something out of this, still make some money. What's the matter with you, dude? Need some beer? You need some puss-puss? And that's when Ludlow tells him.
What's the matter?
He didn't make it. RJ.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really? I am.
Okay, you're right. We believe you. What a weird way to say you're sorry. Just say that's unfortunate. Don't say you're sorry because it doesn't seem like you're sorry. Ludlow tries to make it up to him because he's like, you know what? You did a really good job and I remember the people that helped me and there's a job for you at San Diego. Roland turns it down saying he spent enough time in the company of death. I believe he even gave back the fee for the T-Rex. He didn't take the money. So they've gotten the T-Rex and off they go with it. Honestly, this last act of the movie is just the weirdest and I don't even understand what was the point. It feels like two different movies because now they bring the buck and its son to the mainland. They're at the dock waiting for the animals to come in. The ship carrying them is coming full speed, crashes into the dock. Everyone on the ship is dead, and the buck escapes. He goes in residential areas, kills a whole bunch of people. Ian and Sarah go to find the child, and Ian had told Ludlow this was gonna happen. He's like, look, you thought you knew. Now you're John Hammond. Aren't you glad? Where's the infant? He tells them it's safe. They grab the infant because they know that the T-Rex will be drawn by the infant. Ludlow sees them and goes after them. Remember, they've had this infant for a long time. You really have to watch the movie. But there was a whole chase going on where the T-Rex was chasing them so he could get back his son. Despite being in a completely alien world to the T-Rex, he still loves his boy and he wants his son to be okay. They drop the infant on the boat, and the reason Ian and Sarah did this is because they figured if they get the infant back on the boat and put him inside that little hangar area where the T-Rex was being held, they could lure the T-Rex back in there, tranquilize it, and it can be shipped back to the island Isla Sorna. Ludlow's like, no, that's not happening. I want that infant. What's up? Your sedation wore off. And the infant's like, get the frick away from me. Ludlow tries to catch it. And that's when Daddy Dearest shows up. Oh no. This is the cutest part of the movie because the T-Rex doesn't kill Ludlow. He just maims him, chomps on his leg real hard, makes it into sushi. And then he lets his baby kill him. Here, son, might as well while we're here, I'll give you a little hunting lesson. Here's how to kill any predator that tries to mess with you or touch you, son. Daddy ain't always gonna be there. You got it, pal. Sarah comes up with a tranq gun, and before the helicopter people can kill the T-Rex, she shoots the dart and tranquilizes it. Now everyone's back home. John Hammond is talking about how the island is sacred. Sarah and Ian are understandably passed out.
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island.
And so Isla Sorna is seen as a nature preserve. The dinosaurs are now protected by law. And here you can see the difference. The father is clearly a brighter color than the female, which is something that is usually the case in birds, or at least most bird species. So this greener dinosaur is a male, while the browner one that looks like Rexy from the first movie is female. And the baby seems green too, which means he's male. And it is very possible that baby, Junior, could be the baby that we saw in Jurassic Park 3 as a grown adult that got its neck snapped by the Spinosaurus, which is honestly very sad if you think about it. I also have a POV from the baby's point of view, and these are basically POV fanfiction stories from the animal or monster's point of view if they could talk, and we can interpret what they're saying in English in human terms. Then a flying reptile lands and roars, and it's like, caw! And the movie ends. Aside from all the cringe-inducing parts of this movie, I still think, aside from the first one being in a category all by itself, that the Lost World Jurassic Park is my favorite Jurassic Park movie. As of this moment, Dominion wasn't out, so we'll see what happens with that. It was a wonderful movie. They could have done without the mainland, and Fallen Kingdom is basically just the same thing as this movie, and Jurassic World is just the same thing as a soft reboot as the first movie. Except Fallen Kingdom tried to take a whole bunch of scenes from the first movie because apparently it couldn't stand on its own. But they just had a lot more dinosaurs, which made it much more fun. Still love the movie though. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.